Welcome back to another Fusion 360 tutorial. In the last part, what we did is we added this ring to our keychain, and we discovered that we created a sketch on the back side and extruded the ring part, and then we went in and cut out this little half moon shape inside of the ring as well. What we're going to do now is we've got to do some finishing touches to this keychain to get it ready to be 3D printed as a pattern. Now, you'll notice that we have sharp edges on each of the corners. Those would work in our molding, but one of the things when we're designing parts that we want to think about is that anytime you have something that humans or animals are going to be around or handling, you really want to try and get rid of sharp edges and corners that could potentially cut or scratch somebody. So to do that, we're going to add something called a fillet, okay, to each corner. Technically speaking, these are radii, okay, because they are external. Fillets would be internal, but that's a discussion for another day. So if we go up here to the top where the toolbar is, instead of in the top left, we're going to move over towards the middle, and you're going to have your Modify tab. In the Modify tab, usually the second icon looks like a rounded corner, and it says Fillet, Fillet. Go ahead and choose that. And the way this works is we select edges that we want to put a fillet or a radius on. Now, you do have X-ray vision essentially with Fusion 360, so you do not need to turn your part to find these edges. And what I'm going to do is click on the outside corners. So I've got 1, 2, and I can sort of see the third one over here. However, the back one I can't see. But if I move my mouse sort of inside of this ridge, you'll notice that a line pops up right there. That is that back edge. I'm going to click on it. And now I have all 4 of them highlighted in light blue. You'll notice it's asking me for a size. We're going to make our radius 0.08. So 0.08. And you'll notice that it rounds those corners off nicely. So 0.08. Be sure to click OK or hit return. If you don't do that and you get out of this tool, it will not lock that in. It'll basically revert or undo what you just did. Not a big deal for 4, but if you're doing something that has 50, trust me, it's frustrating if you forget that. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to use the exact same command. So we're going to go back up and choose Fillet over to the Modify tab. And this time we are going to put fillets on the inside corners. So I've got 1. Now I've got to use X-ray. So there's 1 back in here. 2. There's 1 right here. 3. And of course we have the back corner. 4. Make sure you're getting the correct ones. If you're struggling to highlight these, it is perfectly acceptable, of course, to spin the cube and find your stuff. All right, it's just an efficiency thing. Once I have all 4 of those lit up, they're all highlighted blue. Again, it wants to know what size we want. You might have to re-highlight that. I'm going to type in 0.04, so 0.04, and click OK. And you'll notice that now my inside corners are rounded as well. Once we have that done, there are 2 other things that we want to add to get rid of sharp edges or corners. So I'm going to spin the cube. We want to put a fillet right here where the ring attaches to the body. This is a strength issue. So anytime that you have sharp corners, there's a stress riser that's put into a part. And we want to get rid of that. So I'm going to choose the fillet command. I'm going to click on this edge right here. And then there's 1 back here on the other end of the ring. We're going to type in 0.06, and we're going to get a nice smooth transition between the ring and the body, and click OK. So that's how we're going to add fillets to our part. The last thing we need to do, right here you'll notice we have some very sharp edges for where we cut that hole through. Instead of fillet, we're going to use something similar. So if I go up here and click on Modify, and come down about 3, you're going to find chamfer, Chamfer, chamfer. What chamfer does is it takes a sharp corner and it cuts it off to make a less sharp corner. So we're going to use our chamfer tool. It works just like fillet. So I'm going to come in here and get that edge and that edge. Okay, those are the only ones you need. And for our size, we're going to type in 0.045. And it's going to cut a chamfer, kind of a cone shape around that edge. Okay, don't worry about the backside. This is pretty thin. If we put a chamfer on there, you're going to have no wall thickness. Go ahead and click OK. And at this point, we've broken most of our sharp edges on the keychain, and that's exactly what we want to do.